Hey everyone, this is Matt from MMOs.com, and I'm here today with a brand new weekly video series called Foreign Feature. I'm going to be bringing you a new video about a lesser-known foreign game each week, ranging from first impressions to high-level gameplay and deeper discussions about game systems. Today I'm going to discuss the first few hours of a new Chinese MMORPG called Undefeated Legend. Undefeated Legend is an isometric 3D MMORPG published by Frozen Lake Network, a relatively new publisher that has 4 games out now and another 2 in closed beta. If you played browser games like Felspire, Guardians of Divinity, or Mage Realm, you have a bit of an idea of how the game starts out. You spend approximately the first 50 levels clicking on quest objectives, watching your character run past dozens of enemies to a boss that it kills. You level up, and you just keep repeating that until you're level 50. Literally every quest objective for the first 50 levels gives you a level, and literally every one of them is to kill a single enemy, which is usually a boss. I completed the entire process within about an hour or two, and it took very little input. In fact, I would suggest that you don't try to do too much during this process, because the one time I left a quest objective, the auto-pathing just straight up broke and was repeatedly sending me to the guy that gave me the quest in the first place. The only way that I found works in terms of fixing it is to completely close down the game and relog. And I mean, I tried getting around without the auto-pathing, but if you don't know Mandarin, you're going to have issues finding your way around. Once you do hit level 50, everything changes. You'll get almost all of your experience from dungeons. Each dungeon will have a set of objectives, and each of those objectives will give you a level. At first, there are several objectives per dungeon, but later dungeons offer only a single objective, and thus you will only be getting a single level per dungeon. Each dungeon is designed for a specific level range, but you can actually take on dungeons before you're the appropriate level as long as your combat power rating is high enough. You see, instead of being gated by level, each dungeon has a combat power requirement which gates your progress. When you hit a point where you aren't powerful enough to take on the next dungeon, the game requires you to do side quests, which give you the golden resources necessary to upgrade your character and increase your combat power. These side quests give you practically no experience. All you'll get is the minuscule amount of experience that you get from killing mobs. They're designed exclusively for the purpose of awarding gold and upgrade resources, which can be a bit frustrating at times. These side quests come in various forms, including automatically being added to your quest log at various milestones, or just accepting them from quest givers the traditional way. However, regardless of how you actually obtain the side quests, most of them are turned in remotely, with only a few requiring you to actually go to a quest giver to turn them in, and those that you do have to go to quest givers to turn in, there's a good reason for it. Once you hit level 60, the game opens up a bit and the pace of leveling slows to a crawl, like to the point that you're not going to get a single level within an hour. There are a variety of activities that you can and should do, but they're all intended to help you work towards the next power requirement for the next dungeon in line. None of them are helping you get experience, they all just want you to move towards that next dungeon. That being said, some of them are fairly interesting. One set of quests will take you to an open PvP grind zone where you'll be killing 5 to 10 of various mobs per quest for about 10 quests. You could take part in PvP if you wanted to, but unfortunately nobody's really interested in PvP here. Everybody's too busy with their automated or partially automated gameplay, and if you do get hit by another player, it's only because you got in the way of their AoE or were trying to take their mob. There's no active PvP going on, and even if there were, the fact that you can set health potions to be used automatically when your health falls below a certain percentage makes the fights come to a standstill, even if there are multiple people beating on one person. It is very, very hard to get kills here. There is also a repeatable side quest that requires you to do trade runs by taking a wagon from one NPC to another. There are a few different colors of wagon, but I honestly couldn't tell you what the difference is. However, there are 2 primary ways that you can complete the trade run. You can either actively escort the wagon while watching it follow you at a painfully slow rate, and possibly get stuck on various scenery, or you can hop on the mule pulling the wagon and let the AI handle the entire run for you. The run will take you about 10 to 15 minutes, and all you can do during that time is watch it travel. Another repeatable side quest will take you to a border zone, where you are required to patrol in that zone for 10 minutes as a timer ticks down. During that time, you can do anything you want, as long as you stay within the zone. For example, there's a particular statue that, once activated, will spawn mobs that are fairly tough, and they require a large group to kill, but I'm not entirely sure what their purpose is, because they spawn with your name attached to them. There are also a bunch of players doing trade runs that can be PK'd as they're flagged for PvP, but I also haven't tried doing that, so I'm not entirely sure how that system works either. Of course, the game also won't judge you if you just want to stand next to the quest giver for the entirety of the 10 minutes. As you're going through these side quests, the game will repeatedly remind you to upgrade through red bubbles containing numbers appearing on the icons for the upgrade menus, green quest text that gets highlighted by animated boxes, and the occasional tutorial message telling you that yes, there is another way to upgrade. Here are a few of the absurd number of ways in which you can upgrade your character. This gear upgrading menu, which gives you not one, but 4 different ways to upgrade your character. Paying a ton of gold to upgrade your skills. This odd skillbook system that you put various items into whenever you have them. This even odder reveal the picture menu in which you hammer away boxes at various level milestones to immediately receive an upgrade for each box you hammer away. This set of puzzles in which you unlock blocks based on how many stars you have, and then solve the puzzles the blocks belong to get a set of bonuses and move to the next puzzle. If you don't have all the blocks, in the meantime, you can just place these blocks wherever you want, and whatever bonuses they happen to cover, you'll get those bonuses. Blocks can always be moved later, allowing you to solve each puzzle regardless of how many times you fail it. In short, as with many browser games, there's simply too many ways to upgrade your character. Once you've gone through the process of upgrading your character and you can run the next dungeon, you're met with this. Alright, this is taking too long. Let's speed it up a bit. Yep, that took a full 9 minutes, and it wasn't even challenging. You can play through it with 1 or 2 players, but the game heavily incentivizes gathering a full party for the sake of speed. If you don't, the entire process is painfully slow, as you just saw. There are a few other features that I found to be irritating as well. As with many other games of this kind, you cannot customize your character, which isn't all that bad in and of itself when games give you customization options in some form or another at later times, but in Undefeated Legend, at various milestones, your character's look will change entirely. From clothing to hairstyle to hair color, just everything will change. It makes little sense, and to make matters worse, many of these costume changes are hideous. Look at what I am wearing! I also found it absolutely grating that your character can only move in 8 directions despite being a modern point-and-click game with a rotating camera and everything. It's one thing if the game paths you around objects in 8 directions, it's another thing entirely if you can't even move in a straight line unless it conforms to one of 8 directions. For those of you wondering, there's also a bit of lag. Depending on the time of day, your latency will either be high but fairly stable and unnoticeable, or you'll be rubber banding all over the place and spending upwards of even 30 seconds waiting for something that your character is attacking to die. Your experience will vary wildly depending on the time of day that you connect. There's also a small issue where the mini-client executable doesn't close properly and you're required to use the task manager to end the process. So that's the experience that I had with the first 60 levels or so of Undefeated Legend. Despite the issues that I've had with it, I've enjoyed playing it. It's a nice, casual game that doesn't always force automated gameplay on you and has a surprisingly varied core gameplay loop. It doesn't hurt that the graphics are rather nice either. The game is packed and seems to be doing really well in China, but from the experience that I've had with it, it's definitely not something that I can see a lot of people dropping their main MMO to play. That being said, if you're looking for a game kind of like this, it's one of the highest quality games of its kind that I've played, so maybe it would be worth checking out for you. Should you want to check Undefeated Legend out, links are in the description. See you next week!